Yes,
Mrs. Driscoll.
yes.
Hi, I'm Nancy. Nancy Wheeler. We spoke briefly on the phone last night.
We're from the Hawkins Post.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, you look too young for reporters.
We get that a lot.
Follow me.
Oh, it's lovely. Do you live here all alone?
Yes, Jack, my husband, he passed away, what is it now, 10 years ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't be. I kind of like the quiet. At least I did. This way. It's right over there. You see those little teeth marks, don't you?
And these bags, you're sure they were full before?
I'm old, honey, not senile. Bought them over at Blackburn Supplies just last Tuesday. Now you tell me, why would rats want to eat a poor old woman's fertilizer?
Are you sure they did? Maybe they just gnawed the bag? I mean, eating fertilizer seems...
Crazy, believe me, I know, honey. But something's not right with these rats.
What does that mean exactly? Not right.
Rabies, my guess. That's when I said to myself, Doris, you gotta call the paper. Because if those diseased rats are running loose, the people, they ought to know. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, yes, I forgot to mention. Come on over here. I caught one of the little bastards.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Oh, I love saying that in the morning. Actually, you know, it's interesting. I'm having a therapy moment for a second. I know. I was having one of those mornings where I was feeling, oh my God, my life, I'm not doing it. What am I doing with it? Which of course I am doing stuff with it, but certain things just don't go the way you want all the time. But I have to say, I heard this woman's voice on the phone this morning, and all of a sudden, everything was good. It was I came out of my sort of like and I was uplifted, and this woman, just her presence uplifts you. She, you know, I was having lunch with a friend, Richard Skipper, in New York, and we were sitting outside, and the car door opens, and here comes this beautiful, amazing woman who I had seen time over time on TV and in movies, and I knew that face, and I went, and just like I said, her presence just makes you feel good. I mean, work-wise, she's been in Curb Your Enthusiasm, Stranger Things. She played Doris Driscoll, Raven's Home, Next Caller, Mike and Molly, 6 Feet Under, one of my favorite shows, Modern Family, Star Trek, Insurrection. I could keep on going. Third Rock. Anyway, here she is today, the one, the only Peggy Miley.
Well, hello. How nice to meet you all. I'm really delighted. Now, you probably will have questions to ask me. So if I talk too long, please feel free to politely tell me to shut up and your questions. But it's important for you to hear something. I'm going to start off with something terribly negative. But it's the most important thing you've got to get used to in the business, and that is rejection. Don't think it's limited to people who have some specific noticeable disability. This business is such that the best thing I ever read was a book when I was trying to switch from stage work in New York. That's where I learned, by doing off-Broadway stuff. Great way to learn. And it's live theater. So you're aware every time somebody blows their nose in the audience or giggles or whatever. But I have to tell you, the thing you do learn quickly, this is a statistic. If you are doing commercials, for example, because that's an easy one to clock. If you're doing commercials, if you get three parts out of every 100 auditions that you go to, you're successful. You're very successful. So realize that rejection is the first thing we have to deal with, and we have to deal with it over and over again. So if you're the type who's a little bit sensitive, you might be in the wrong business. But most of us learn because we love what we're doing. Now, that's just commercials, but it's true anytime I've gone in for auditions for anything. And you probably have had the same experience. Have you ever gone into a room and you think that they've said something? For example, me, a short, fat, older lady with gray hair. And you think you're going in for this audition, and you get into the audition room. That's when we did go to those. You open the door, and there's a room full of short, chubby, gray-haired ladies. And you realize, oh my gosh, everybody is very much like me. And how they make that choice is unique. You can only give them what you have and let them make the choices. But the rejection is part of the business, and it has nothing to do with anyone's limitations. I mean, obviously, I don't go out for the same parts as Jane Fonda, although she's 5 years older than me. Actually, she's 7, but she doesn't admit it. Okay. Anyway, just so you know. Okay. So I have to tell you, that's the most important question. Everything else will be really pretty positive. So should David, you'll stop me if I'm chattering too much.
No, I love this. I love this. In fact, that was perfect. I mean, have you ever thought of becoming a therapist?
I have no desire to be a therapist. I was a teacher for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to tell you. I came into the business a little bit late, and I came in first with an amateur theater company. It's the oldest amateur theater company in the country. It's called the Thomas Davis Irish Players. And I must tell you that my reason for getting involved at the time, I was young. When I say young, I was in my early 30s. And my reason for it is they had all these handsome young guys from Dublin University who all worked for IBM, and they wore those navy blue suits and the white shirts and the ties. Oh, they were handsome. So my thoughts were not really artistic. They were instead very much interested in the social end of things. And I did meet some very charming people. They had great cast parties, but I got very interested in theater, and somehow or other, I moved on from there to any other theater company that would have me. And that's another thing. For the most part, don't wait, well, the part is too small, or I don't know if I'm right for it. If they've picked you, you're right for it. And go in there knowing that. That's really important that you know that. And also, if you don't get it, don't analyze it forever. You didn't get it because just give it 5 minutes to think about it. Gee, I wish I hadn't tripped and fallen on my face when I walked in the door.
Well, I have to say, in connection to what you said about if they pick you, you're right for the part, because I have heard, actually last week, somebody called me up and said, oh, I didn't audition for this part because my agent sent me on it and I don't think I'm right for it, so I didn't even go on it. It's like,
oh, you gave up a learning experience. You've given up a learning experience. And worse, you've given up someone you didn't know who didn't know you. And there's where you get in. You audition, even if I used to joke, I would audition for a part, even if it said they were looking for James Earl Jones. In the door, I would do it because you see, that person would remember me, even if what he remembered is that silly old lady. She thought she looks like James Earl Jones. He'll never forget me. He may never use me, depending on who he is and what kind of humor he has, but he won't forget me. So it's really important. Any opportunity, take it. Now, when I say that, don't in any way give up your own personal values. Being a character woman like I am, I don't often get asked to do anything too sexy. But if that's not something you want to do, don't do it. And certainly don't do it because he'll bring me in again. And certainly don't become part of the Me Too crowd. Make your own choices. You're safest with that, and you'll do best with that, mostly because you'll be who you are.
Mm.
And that's what you're selling, who you are. And you're not just selling perhaps the disability. We all have disabilities. I'm 4'8". I weigh far too much. I'll never tell you that, how much. But it's not, it's not that. Know what they're looking for. And if you fit that thing, you may get it, but you may not. I've gotten commercials because one director said to me, "Oh, I love you. You look just like my mom." Now, all I could think of is, and what if I had looked like your mother-in-law? And I wouldn't get it. So it's not all artistic. So you need to be aware of that. It's just so you know. And so that's a really important to do that. And you know what? Use what you have. I will never be 5'7" and 125 pounds and beautiful. So I can't use that. But I can be a very tough little lady, and I can also be a very pathetic little old lady. I've played everything from bag ladies to extraterrestrial aliens on Star Trek.
Yeah.
And that's what's wonderful. And you, by your very nature, are considered character actors. And that's important. And I think you need to know that. So to keep that in mind.
Now, I wanted to say one thing that you said.
Please.
You said you wouldn't be beautiful. I disagree with that. I think you are beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I am thank you very much. That's
Because what I'm saying is everybody has their own definition of beauty, right?
That's right. Absolutely. And that's a very important thing. Thank you, David, for saying that, because that's very, very important. The definition of beautiful. But I was thinking in the Hollywood terms. Hollywood terms are you're young, voluptuous. I love that word. And you are tall, thin, and you can sing, you can dance. That only takes you so far. You need to be very aware of that. That's one part of it, and it's not a bad part, but it's a different part, and it changes. And I've gone out in my later years with women who have been Miss Americas, and it's very sad because they're coming in for the cleaning lady job that I'm up for.
Yeah.
And they're tall, thin, and beautiful, even though they're very old. But they don't get that job because that's not who they are. So use what you have. And as far as handicaps go, we've all got them. Let me tell you, when you hit 80, you realize old age can be seen by some people as a handicap, depending upon how you use it and how blessed you are to stay healthy. But those are things, that's a handicap of a sort. My biggest handicap, and I'll tell you, all you young people whom I really resent terribly because you have a skill I can't seem to do, I am terrible with anything to do with technology.
Oh.
I have a master's degree. I'm not no idiot. But my master's degree is in something called the humanities. And at that point, they were just inventing computers. So they weren't used by everyone. And as a result, the computers, the smartphones, I'm one of these people that's saying, don't do when I'm trying to do that. That's why I love it when the phone rings.
Oh, see, I can't do this. I talk into it. Of course, whenever I say something, it changes my words and gets me into trouble.
Yes, that's it. Then you have to edit it, and then you're still doing doot. So I mentioned to you I'm just telling you that don't get caught up into, well, I have a disability. Yeah, we all do. Some of us don't even know what disabilities we have. But I have to tell you, use everything you can in your life to do that. Do your research. You know what research means? I have young actors who say to me, if I teach a class, they'll say things like, "Oh, I'm not doing anything but waiting tables. I just, I can't seem to get anything. And I'd say, oh, you're doing research. Oh, and they'll say, no, I'm waiting tables. And no, that's research. You can learn every minute. That's what's wonderful about acting and about theater. It's all about human nature and behavior. And you can learn all the time about it. Oh, I wish I had sent you a paper with all of these written down. I'm kind of looking at a piece of paper with a word like rejection and then the next word.
No, I love this. This is so, I started tearing up because it's so, we all get into our moods or we get into our low points. But this morning I was in a slight low point, and you are is truly lifting me up because it's really about what you're saying. I mean, living life, like you said, whether you're waiting tables or whether you're cleaning a toilet or whether you're holding the hand of your mom or brother. This is the the experiences of life.
Or what you'll carry with you and what you'll use and what you will bring something individual to, depending upon, for example, losing somebody you love, your mom, your friend, your sister, your husband, whatever, or wife. Each person lives differently and even dies differently. And it's what you can bring to it that we can all share that makes it work for us. So I thank you, David. Please keep doing that.
Oh,
Okay. And learning about human nature happens everywhere. If you're sitting on a subway car somewhere, look around you. Don't be into your phone the whole time. Look around. Look how people behave or don't behave. So if you've been on the New York City subways, you're aware of that. And it's very important to see what people do and why they do it. What becomes important, what hurts somebody's feelings that would not bother you at all. That sort of thing, and learn from that. So you're always working. That's the worst part of it. You're always working, but you're not always getting paid. I do understand that. But you try to use, and of course, using what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have or what you can't do. And I went into a commercial one time and I got stuck on a train and I was late.
Yeah.
And I came into the audition and this fellow was coming out. It was supposed to be a mother and a son doing the laundry together, a grown-up son. And there was basketball players with and their uniforms, and we were cleaning them. I walked in and this fellow came towards me. He had to be 6'5". So I said to him, have you got a minute? Would you come back to the desk with me? And so he said, yeah. He said, I think they finished the audition. I said, yeah, that's why I want you to come. So we went back and I said to the lady, see us? Look at us. Can't you use us? Maybe you could shoot one more and put it on the thing. And she did. She did, because it was absolutely hysterically funny. I mean, if I turned and faced him, I was looking into his belt buckle. He was so tall. And that was the funny part. And of course, I'm advising him how to clean his clothes, and he's this big guy. Just recently, I was on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the fellow who runs Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, it's right. It's behind this brain cell right now.
He's a very tall, skinny old man who did lots of shows, but he's very tall and very skinny. I was playing the same type of role in that. And they deliberately picked me because I could be very little, but I could also say to him, you can't park in that. That's a disabled spot. What do you think you're doing? And it was hysterically funny, mostly because he was so tall and thin and I was so short and squat.
Yeah.
Visible thing. And everything has to be visible. On a telephone, it's a different story. And you learn to use what you can of your own things.
Larry David.
Larry David, thank you. You're from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And many times my height has been part of something, depending upon what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah.
So, but you need to just keep in mind to use what you have in whatever way that means. Now, that means they might say, yeah, that kind of thing, and disappear. It's a creative field that we're in. What their concept is and what your concept is and what the writer's concept is. It's wonderful. It's magic when we all come together and collaborate. But it does mean that of those 50 people sitting there, only one person is going to go home happy that night because they have gotten the part. So learn from each experience. I think that's really important. Learn to look at yourself. look in look in the mirror. Like, see if you're in front of a full-length mirror. Just get a look at what they're seeing, but then talk and see how that changes. Or maybe not talk. Maybe just the fact that you don't talk can say an awful lot. Our eyes tell an awful lot of what we're saying, even if we're not talking. So keep that in mind. And then use yourselves in another way. Find out what you're really good at. Never mind what you're not good at or what handicaps you think you have. What do you do well? I'm getting older now, and I'm not doing as much. Well, I don't do much physical work. I mean, I was never an athlete, but I certainly was very physical in the work. But as I've gotten older, I realized they're a little more careful about hiring an old lady who might trip over the wires for that to say they'll rewrite the part. But the other side of the coin is I've learned I'm very opinionated. You may have already noticed. I am very opinionated. And as a result, that works pretty good for me a lot of times. I make sure that I say what I'm thinking. And recently I have put on something that I don't know how to do it. Somebody has to come and help me. Anybody live in LA who's good at technology? I'll give you a part-time job. But I do a vlog, a voice blog. But if you see me, just as you see me sitting here, and I talk about the thing that I feel I can give. I certainly don't. I'm not a historian. I'm a writer, but but I have a lot of opinions. And during the election season, I talked about them. And I did a vlog. You can see it if you go to YouTube. It's called Tea, like a cup of tea, TEA, Tea with Peggy. And I pick up my cup of tea and start the conversation, talking with my cup to everybody and giving my opinions on things. Now, it helps when you do that for the right cause. So that might be something you can do, but maybe it isn't something you can do. Maybe there's something else that you can do. Some of you may be very artistic, and you may be able to do that artwork some way, or something that's very unique to your photography. But the fact of the matter is, try and explore everything you can to keep yourself going as long as you can. P.S. I still do work on a lot of things like Stranger Things and whatever's around. I always go for the audition. Can't hurt to be seen.
No, now talking about Stranger Things, how did that come about?
Gee, how did Stranger Things? Oh, I know how it came about. My agent called and he said, "You have an audition over at for Moses, whatever it was, not too far away,
Right.
over there for that." And it's part of an older woman. And these are young guys. They're doing a new show and it's called Stranger Things. So I went over and I did the audition, and it was the kind of character I can play very well. And they liked whatever I did. But in the meantime, I went to church that Sunday, and one of the young kids who does more waiting tables than we're acting said, "Oh, yeah, none of us are working, Peggy, but I bet you are doing something." And I said, "No, but I had an audition yesterday. It's something, I don't know, it had the word stranger in it. I can't remember exactly." And he said, "You don't mean Stranger Things?" And I said, "Yes, that's it." And they immediately, "Oh my God, she had an audition for Stranger Things." I didn't even know what the show was.
Yeah.
Now, turns out it was a wonderful show, and these are young men who will be the next Spielberg. They're twin brothers, who produced, wrote it, directed it. They're the nicest guys you'd ever want to meet, and they're young. So they're someone you might want to get to know, because they'll do other things, not just Stranger Things. They'll do other things that will include a lot of different types of people. So you might want to look into that. So that happened quite by accident. And I had no idea that it went to 55 different countries. And that every time I step out the door, anyone who's under 20 said, "Oh my God, this guy," and they come running over to take a picture, which is wonderful. I'm telling you these memoirs just so you understand. You don't know where this was just recently I did this. I didn't think Stranger Things. And I tell my actor friends who are my age, they all say, "What episodes you in? I don't want to sit through that whole thing." They don't have any idea, and they don't want to. But it was a wonderful company to work with.
Yeah.
And that comes to another thing. When you're on the set, be as amenable as you can be. Don't do anything dangerous. And don't do anything you don't feel comfortable with. Don't, even if you were to miss a part,
Yeah.
there'll be another part, and somebody will remember that you stood your ground. Do it nicely. That's the important thing. Do it nicely. But very often, if you say, no, I don't want you to fly me through the air, they'll find another way to make you stand out.
Yeah.
Okay. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, you really have to protect yourself because you're the only one who's really going to do that.
That is right. And you need to do that. Very seldom does that happen because they're interested in getting the job done, So usually you'll know way ahead of time.
Yeah,
So
one time I was on a commercial. It was a SAG commercial. It was this wonderful, it's something I grew up with, and there were 40 people on the set, and I was doing something that I wasn't sure of, but hey, there's a lot of people, and I hurt myself on the set. So you have to really, like you said, to take care of yourself.
you do. And very often, if you do it in a way, you might say, I can't, I'm afraid of heights. I don't want you to fly me across the room. But you might say, but if someone holds on to that ladder, that very tall ladder, I don't mind standing up there as if I'm going to fly. And sometimes you can add to it. Now they may say, nah, that doesn't work, but that doesn't matter. But for the most part, try to keep away from the negatives. Usually they're pretty close to what they say they want you to do.
Yeah.
They tell you at the final callback. So you pretty much are okay there.
Yeah.
And of course, always call your agent if you've got a problem. But and another important thing is listening. Oh God, it's an actor. You all know that. You have to listen. You have to listen to the other actor. And that listening can mean whatever it means for you. You may be reading lips, you may be signing, but you still have to be engaged. And that's really important.
Engaged.
That listening. But the other kind of listening is when you're not on stage. Make sure you listen to the directions, that whatever way they're given. Again, I'm not saying listen necessarily physically, it may be sign language or something, but make sure that you hear the directions.
Yeah.
And it's probably worth saying, I'm not sure I understand if you don't. But for the most part, if they're good, the directions are good. And that's important. So listening becomes very, very important. And the other two things, try and keep up as much as you can, and really hard now. Make sure that you read things. If you think that you'd like to do period pieces, it's a good thing if you're either a history buff or a reader of novels, but you need to kind of keep yourself aware of what's there. And the same thing with the film, whether it's TV or movies. Watch what other people are doing. Look at something that you could do, not necessarily the way that person would do it, but that you could bring something to it, and that you may bring something very unique to it that you don't realize even is unique until you see someone else. So be a little bit of a critic, and critique what's on there so that you know what's going on, whether you're reading or you're watching something. Yeah. And I have a question. Well, one more thing before I can.
Yeah.
Praise is really important. I don't mean, pardon my French, ass kissing. Sincere praise for someone.
Yeah.
If someone does something, when you're writing them a note or emailing them or texting them or sending it by smoke signals, something that says, I've always wanted to meet you since I saw what wonderful work you did in, on, or directed in such and such. Everyone has an ego, and it is a nice feeling that they know that you're coming in with respect for them. So just so that you understand how that works, because they do have egos too, and do it sincerely. Don't do it if you don't want to do it. Right. If you don't say it, they don't know that you think they're a jerk. But if you do think they're doing something, you need to share that, because that'll make them feel more comfortable too. Because everybody's job is on the line all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, what you're giving us is joy and oh, what a joy. What is your biggest joy in life?
Oh, working. I truly do love working. I started being an actor working 5 times daily with a very, very captive audience. I taught kids in high school who were out of Rikers Island and out of drug programs. They were, and I was half of what I weigh now, and I'm only 4'9". Well, I guess I was 4'10" then. I've shrunk a little. 4'10". These kids were huge, big and tough. And I had come out of 16 years of Catholic girls' schools. The first time some kid told me what I could do with myself, I cried. I never heard a man talk like that to a woman or any person. Boy, did I learn to get pretty tough. And I wasn't afraid. Well, they didn't think I was afraid of them. I was terrified, but they didn't know that. And I taught for years, teaching kids like that while I was doing theater at night. So believe me, it was a very dramatic time in my life in many, many ways, but you learned through all of those experiences. You also know that when you hear, for example, about Black parents giving the talk, warning the kids how to behave if the cops stop them, I did that automatically in school. I said, for God's sake, don't run away. Don't open your mouth. Make sure you look at the badge. Remember the name or the number that's on that badge. Remember, keep quiet. Don't talk. Just look at that number.
Yeah.
So you understand. What I'm trying to say is there's so much that we need to learn and use. I would never have had that experience anywhere else because I'm not part of that part of society.
And all of what you have done in the past makes you who you are today.
Exactly. And it's very important. And you can identify with other people who may have other problems. You know, if you are in a wheelchair, we may know somebody who's in a more awkward spot than that. They're trying to get along on a walker. You can be more compassionate to that older person who may not be as compassionate to you because they're frightened at their first time.
Yeah.
So there are things that you can do. You really have a lot to bring to things, and the more you try to do that, the better you are. But and then, you know, with all this watching, reading, listening things, this is a question kind of for you.
Right.
Who is your role model when you think of this business? Who is it that you think I'd like to be like that person? And
Are
then,
you asking me or we're asking everybody?
all you guys, any one of you, everyone here should be thinking about that. Who, for example, my role model right now is Betty White,
Oh,
who was 20 years older than I am.
yeah.
With very much the same kind of character. She
Yeah.
was very savvy, a kind of a sexy old lady, as a matter of fact, and had a line about everything and everyone. But she also some compassion, and she certainly learned how to listen.
Yeah.
And I think that finding someone that now, when I was younger, when I was a little girl, I remember getting my hair cut into a page boy because I wanted to look just like June Allison. Now, you probably don't know who June Allison was, but she was the second time they did the feature film Little Women, and she played the part of Jo. And I thought that was wonderful, and I was 12 years old. And I thought it was terrific. She was a real tomboy, and I was that kind of kid. But that changed. June Allison has passed away. So has Betty White at this point. But look at the mark that Betty White left.
Mm.
You know, and think about the mark that other people can make. So I'm sorry, that's an awful lot of talking at you.
No, I love it. I mean, I was thinking, God, I could just sit, you know, if I want to see your one woman show, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I mean,
really?
do you have one?
Huh?
Do you have a one woman show?
Oh, I do. And it's about marching in the St. Patrick's Day parade for 40 years and the characters that you talked to along the route, as you did. Starting, I was as a child of an Irish immigrant.
Yeah.
My mother's family came also from Ireland. And St. Patrick's Day was second only to Christmas in our family, well, and Easter. Those are important holidays. But St. Patrick's Day was a wonderful, to this day, I miss that I can't stand as long in the cold. I
Yeah.
can, but not for too long.
Right.
But when we were kids, and I marched every year for 4 years with the different schools that I went to. And then politically, because that's who I am, I was very, I am not an Anglophile, as politically I'm not. The individual people are absolutely wonderful. I don't want in any way that, but politically, I don't have the reverence that so many people in this country do.
Yeah, but and you stand who you are. You stand for who you are. You
Yes.
come from here.
And sometimes that gets in the way. But the matter is, that's who I am. You know, I'm not the little old lady who sits there and says, "Oh, thank you, dear, for bringing me my cup of tea. Oh, isn't that nice of you? Oh, no, I'm fine. I don't need anything." That's not me. That it just isn't.
Although you can play that on TV.
Oh, yes. Play that. Oh, I can also play the murderess who just somehow or other mixed a little bit of something extra in with the tea. It looked like sugar. And you know.
Hey, listen, I could go on for hours with you. I want to bring on some of the wonderful students and fellow actors, and I'm just gonna here she is, Miss Shannon Durex.
Hey,
Hi, Shannon.
I do have a question for you.
Good.
What is it like to be on Mike and Molly TV show?
Oh, that was fun. That was fun. The guy who plays Mike is a wonderful, really happy, sweet guy. And Molly is also, she takes a little while to get used to, but she's great. She's so talented. And I have to tell you, everybody was wonderful on that show. I have to tell you, most people say to me, "Who's the worst person you ever worked with?" I really haven't had that experience, honestly. They're pros. There are a couple of shows I've been on, and I know that the people I'm not working with that day are maybe the stars, and they may be a real pain in the ass. But anyone I've worked with, I have to say, we are a very interesting group. We theater people, we actors, you know. So yeah, that's me there telling terrible things.
Well, thank you, Shannon. Great question.
Thank you. That was a great question.
Thank you.
Do you have a model? Do you have a model that you like? Someone that you think of as your role model? Someone that,
My role model is you, Peggy.
oh, Shannon, you certainly knew the right charming thing to say. You'll do fine in this business.
I
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, we'll just keep on bringing it. I know several people have sent in questions, and then we'll try to get as many as we can. Oh, you know who sent in a question here was Shaquille. Hey, Shaquille.
Miss Pagan?
Hey, there you go. How are you?
Hi, Miss Pagan.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Good. I got 3 questions for you.
Oh, wow.
Where around the world have you taught?
Oh, I haven't really taught around the world. I did teach English as a second language in New York, where we had 40 countries represented and 27 different languages. So we kind of had to lean on English. It was a great thing. But I've traveled all over the world. I've been everywhere. I've been to every continent except
And do you prefer
Antarctica.
drama or comedy?
Well, I like to say I prefer drama, but the truth is comedy is part of me, whether I want it to be or not, even more. And most of life is kind of a mixture of the two, I think.
And what advice would you give me?
Keep on keeping on. Follow what you want. Your diction is clear. You speak well. You have a wonderful smile. You already started there. And find some role model. I don't mean you want to copy somebody, but you might want to know something about their career and how they approached it.
Yeah.
But you're really you're quite remarkable and
Thank you, Miss Peggy.
and unique. That's the other word we
Thank you,
want
Miss
to know.
Peggy.
We are unique, each of us. Thanks, honey.
And
Welcome, Miss Peggy.
by the way, Shaquille, who is your role model?
Oh yes.
My own model is Spider-Man.
Whoa, perfect. Perfect. Wow. Wow.
I love it. Thank you, Shaquille.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, how wonderful. All right. Let's see who's next. I think we got, is it Ranjani? Is Ranjani there? Ranjani.
Yep, that's me.
Hey, how are you?
Really good, Peggy.
Oh, good, Ranjani.
And my favorite critter along with my favorite lab rats. It's you. I love to say that. Okay, my question is, do you love being a Disney star?
Oh my gosh, I never ever think of myself as a star. I think of myself as a working actress. That's more important to me in many ways. But working with Disney, by the way, is a wonderful way to work. And the shows are such fun. That I was in that Soul Raven, the grown-up one.
Yeah.
I was on that. Delightful, just delightful. Oh, there's a picture of me there. Okay.
Yep, that's you.
I love how it just pops up.
That's Joyce my favorite comedy queen of Disney. That's what I love.
Oh, yes, yes, because it's really a great show and really wonderful. And Disney does beautiful work and is very aware of how important each individual is unique.
Thank you, Ranjani.
Thank you, Ranjani. How
You
nice.
tell me what my role model was.
What was
Yo.
It's David.
Aha. Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
Thank you. Oh, sweet, 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 sweet. Okay, we have somebody here who has raised their hand, and it's her first time at Meet the Biz. Here she is, Savan. There she is.
Hi.
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 I was hearing about different people with disabilities and stuff about respecting others. I wanted to ask her a question related to that. If someone bothers someone, how can you solve that before it blows up?
I'm not sure.
How could you solve it if people have a disability and they're on the job or in life?
Yes.
And they're being mistreated. How can you get in front of it and stop it before it blows up?
I got your question now. I don't know. In reality, it is possible that sometimes you can't, because that person is carrying a very heavy burden of problems of their own. I think that's something that I forget sometimes too. Why are people behaving the way they are? What is it about them what is it about you that threatens them, that makes them upset or angry? You do not come across as a person who's argumentative or difficult or would hurt anybody. So where is the problem? And very often you can't solve it because it's not your problem, it's theirs. But the other side of the coin, sometimes a little humor can get away around a certain amount. Once in a while, even saying something at another time about, wow, that's a great blouse you're wearing, or That was so funny when you said something like that, so that they feel more comfortable about themselves. But that's not so easy to do when you're in the spot. I can tell you that too. But and it's very interesting to see how it works and who works with it.
Mm.
Uh, but I think it's important that we're beginning to realize that we need to show all of the aspects of human nature. Do you ever watch a show called Call the Midwife?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's on PBS, so you can get it somehow or other, and it's called. And there's about, I think there's maybe now 10 seasons of it, and it's a British show, but it's very cute, and it has a character who you would identify with very comfortably, and he has become such a part of that. It might be interesting. I don't know his name. To even contact him online and see if, or online, or however one does these things, so that you could find out for him, because he's someone who has probably addressed the same problems you're talking about. But the important thing is to keep honing your craft, keep working on your craft. I noticed at some point you repeated something you needed to say because it wasn't so clear. Perfect. That tells me, oh, this is someone who's working on that particular thing, speech, presentation, because we all do at some point. So good question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wish I had a better answer, but I don't.
No, that's fine. It's just I had experience of people that respect and don't respect, so I just wanted to ask.
It's a good question, and it's one that we all deal with at some point. Believe me, when you're old, some people think, I hold a master's degree. I'm pretty sharp still, but they will. Hello, honey. How are you? Nobody talks to me like that. I don't have that presentation, and it doesn't make me comfortable, and it doesn't make me terribly nice either to do that. So I do understand your question.
Thank you. And also, the 3 role models is David, my staff, and family.
Wonderful. Great.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It's interesting at this moment. My role models. I could find something in everyone here.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
It's interesting. That's at this moment. That's what I was feeling. Which, I learn from everyone. I know we have maybe a few more minutes. I know we have, Isaac Leva, the star of stage and screen. Here he is. Isaac.
Hi,
Hi,
Isaac.
Peggy.
Hi, honey.
I need to ask your advice how to be in the television.
Well, I think what you need to do is see if there are courses that are given that you can take for acting for television. Also, see if you can find things where they'll bring you in, even if it's a very small part, even as an extra, you learn things. So even if you came on in that thing where you're one of a group scene kind of thing, it's a way to learn how the cameras work, how people behave, how they cut. How do you get into it? I don't know. Out here in California, it's really important that you have an agent, and you would have to do some research on agents that work perhaps with the specially abled. I like that expression better than the disabled. You may also find some way, take classes wherever you can. And if you work around, there should be someplace you can get them for free. Where do you live? What part of the country?
Burbank.
Burbank.
California.
Oh, Burbank. Well, look around for classes that through Burbank. You know what? Maybe even make a phone call to somebody, even a receptionist at Nickelodeon, and say, hi, this is who I am, and I'm really interested in getting into the business, but where might I study? Where might it go?
What's so good about Isaac? How long have you been with Performing Arts Studio West?
I don't remember.
It's been a while though, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
that's wonderful. Oh, hey, you're learning. Hey.
So he
Mhm.
and the thing about him is Isaac really wants to get on a TV show, but he's also done a couple of films. What films did you do?
Any day now.
Oh, wow.
And,
And who
and Wakefield.
and Wakefield. And who were they with?
Which one?
Let's just start with Any Day Now.
Anna Cumming,
Alan
David
Cumming.
David Donahunt, and Francis Fuchsia.
Oh, Francis Fisher, yes.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
And Wakefield?
Jennifer Garner, and a guy from Hawaii Five-O.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Listen, you're doing real well. You really are. That's great. I'm so glad to hear it, but it's tricky. But if you're with this group, performing arts, I think that's wonderful. I think that's the way to stay involved. And if somebody comes up and says, will you do a reading? Yes, I'll do a reading. Will you do, whatever it is, jump on what the opportunities are. I mean, I don't, I'll never be a star, but I am a working actress because I'm pretty willing to work at anything. I wouldn't work at something that I found shouldn't be done, or vulgar or something that would be on, then I wouldn't do it. But I have to say, I don't find that that's the case. I work at anything and I go to every audition that comes up that I know about.
Okay, and Brian Cranston, and I also from California.
Pardon me?
I met Brian Cranston, and I'm from California.
Wonderful. California is the center of it all. So I think that's wonderful. And I know Burbank very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right there in the middle of all those studios. So hopefully there'll be lots of opportunities. I think Nickelodeon's another place to look.
And that's right near in Burbank, right?
Yes.
I love it. I could definitely see you on a TV show. It's interesting though, sometimes people say, well, I've done a film, but I'd rather be in TV. And is there a major difference? And how to do it? And I think that's your step, huh?
And that is my dream.
This is a reminder.
Oh,
call Eddie.
Alexa, stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot that would go off. Oh my gosh.
That's okay. That's okay. Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you. Much good luck to all of you. Boy, good questions and good work. And Shaquille, I wanted to just mention something. Yeah. Your presentation and your smile, it's very important. Have you ever thought about taking classes in sports announcing? Are you at all interested in sports?
Yes, I am interested in sports.
Well, you might think about something where you're doing some sports announcing or something of that sort. What I'm saying when I did the vlog is that it's you kind of veer off from what you're actually doing to do something a little bit different. So that was my point. So that's great. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I know that we're coming to the close here. I know we've been here an hour, and again,
I'm sorry, I talked too much at the beginning.
No, God, no. Such a wonderful learning experience, and I hope, I know we could one of these days, maybe you'll come to visit us in person or again. And the one question I want to ask, and that I ask a lot of the guests that I got from Corey Allen is, what do you want the most at this moment in your life?
Work and the opportunity to be with other people. There's nothing that is created in this world like human nature. Nothing. in all its varieties, and to be part of it and to be with people. And I think, to me, I'm not a loner. I'm one of those people, if I'm alone long enough, I'll talk to the moose on the wall. Of course, I have to have somebody to talk to all the time. That's who I am. So that's worth knowing.